most nations submit. Whether that is to their enemies or time itself matters not. The simple fact is that when fate or life or destiny wants to, nations submit. And if they submit, they die. Life does not take sides, it only takes and takes and takes. And when there is nothing left it leaves, allowing the shell to crumble away. But here's the thing, most nations submit. Not all. But for a long time every nation submitted when life came knocking, that is until the galaxy found the nation of human. When they came to us and told their story we laughed them out of the room. We didn't believe it, no race, no nation could do the things they claimed. They simply said they fought through what life threw at them. Sure, as if life could be beaten, as if it could be stopped. But then they showed us their museums, their history books, their artifacts, and slowly one by one we began to believe. We began to believe that perhaps their tales were maybe true. They claimed they had moved the great water serpents themselves via a technological device called a dam. They claimed they had cheated death itself by shooting beams of burning light at what they called tumors, but what we called manifestations of destiny. They talked about how they had survived on an apocalyptic hellscape of a planet that would spew fire liquid from its mountains and quake so violently that their cities collapsed. And how horrific living spinning masses of wind and evil called dust devils would come and pick up their biggest structures and hurl them like children's toys. We were shocked that such ludicrous claims could be true. We knew that such horrific planets existed but had always assumed them to be thoroughly uninhabitable. If one of our colony ships had the misfortune to land in one, we had always believed the only option was to submit to the will of life. That if our citizens had landed on such a horrific planet, then their fate must have been preordained by life. That life itself, in landing them there, had communicated its desire to see their death. And so, seeing as life could not be beaten, only appeased, we had always believed that the most merciful option was best. That to struggle and try to survive would be pointless, as life itself, in its endless power and glory, would inevitably wear them down until they were no more. So if death was assured, our teachings had always indicated the best course of action would be to submit and follow the great light into the next life. And every race we had ever encountered had shared this most fundamental philosophy, that if life wished you death then you would find it, and that struggling would only prolong your torment. But, the humans had proved us wrong. They had proved that the impossible was possible. That a nation, a race could stand up to life itself and win. That somehow through some combination of willpower and masochism yet unknown to the galaxy, life could be beaten. That the gods themselves could be defied. That destiny was only what we made of it. Contact with the humans changed everything. Our entire way of life was flipped on its head. What were we to do with this knowledge? What was our purpose now? What was our place in a galaxy where only we made the rules? I don't know any of the answers to those questions, and neither did my race. Without the guiding light of the religion of life, we collapsed. We were not strong, like the humans. We were not strong enough to resist life when it came for us. What we did know was that it had all been for naught. That all those billions of bright souls that we had advised to submit to the will of life had been wasted. That each and every one of those deaths was the singular fault of our race. That while we had believed we were only doing the merciful thing, we had instead been party to mass murder on a galactic scale. That we were guilty as charged broke us. The fact that we were monsters broke us. Our society, our economy, our families, our culture, our nation, they all collapsed into anarchy. We ran into the streets blind with emotion, seeking by any means to return to normal. But normal could not be returned to. The knowledge the humans had given us could not be unlearned. And so we went mad. We went insane. We tore ourselves apart and then cried when our hands became stained with blood. We didn't want it. We didn't want this bright, terrifying future humanity had cursed us with. We wanted the assurance of a way of life that could no longer be lived. And so, caught between a rock and a hard place, unwilling to go forward but incapable of going back, we did the only thing we knew how to do. We submitted. And so I speak as former Ambassador Kevshek Anklad, first of the Andorranats to speak with a human, and the last of my race. I speak to this galaxy to learn from our mistakes, to be willing to break with the old and usher in the new. To be strong, like we could not be. To not hide in the darkness of life, but to fight. To break our illusionary bonds that hold us to this path, to struggle and to persevere, as the humans did. To laugh at life, at the gods, and to never surrender. To never give up as we did. To never take the easy way out. To live life as it was meant to be, by making whatever you want of it.